What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NBA to the Galaxy Pod, featuring myself, Scotty, and my other hosts here, Slim. You can find me at Scotty Drown on Twitter, and you can find Slim at RTR30111. Happy Saturday to everybody out there. If you're joining us this afternoon, if you're joining us later on another day, I know some people could be busy on this nice Saturday in the summer. So if you're watching later, definitely just want to thank you for tuning in. But happy Saturday, man. It's a heat wave out there. I don't know what you're doing if you don't have a pool or a beach to go to. I don't know if I'm even going outside today. So as much as I know it is the nice weather in the summer, it's getting up over 100 degrees out here, and that ain't cool with me.
For real, though.
Marshawn said this is wildly irresponsible, fam. Hey, we were just feeling it, man. We talked about it like yesterday and on Thursday. We had a great show earlier this week. Wanted to get out here again and talk some NBA. This is the best time of year. It's the most fun.
Yeah, for real, though.
But how you doing today, Slim? Let me give you some shine here, my man. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, bro. Can't complain. First official week of free agency, the offseason was pretty cool. We seen the trade go down and a couple contract extensions and whatnot. So, yeah, man, like you said, the most fun time of the year is finally here. So excited to dive in and, come up with a few hypothetical things, that may go down or whatever. So, yeah, man.
Absolutely. That's exactly where I'm at, man. Especially being a Sixers fan. I know you as a Warriors fan, you got a lot going on as well as far as guys you're trying to bring back, trying to reshape the roster. Let me ask you this, man. I'll let you decide. Do you want to start with the NBA draft, or do you want to start with the rumors of the offseason, some of the stuff that's already came out around the NBA? Where would you like to start?
Maybe we can start out with the draft, man, because I feel like the offseason, that's the good way to end the show out, man. All the rumors and all of that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the more fun part.
Yeah,
the draft, that's just more hypothetical fits. Yeah. At the end of the day, do we really know what these players are going to be at the next level? We've seen guys like myself. I've had to experience guys like Ben Simmons. Slim, you had to deal with guys like James Wiseman. I mean, we've had some experiences throughout the day. As far as NBA drafts, we've had good ones as well. We've gotten the likes of Joel Embiid. You've gotten the likes of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, created a dynasty. So the good and the bad, but all the less, it is all hypothetical. We will see what happens later. But let's start at the top, man, because you brought this to me coming into the show, and I did see a report just about how much the Wizards like Alexander Sarr out of Australia. And you told me coming into the show there was a rumor that Atlanta was actually working out Sarr as well. So I'm curious, man. Where would you go? I'm not sure if you're familiar with Zachary from France. I'm not even going to try to say his last name.
I have a hard time saying his name. I know who you're talking about, though. I know exactly who you're talking about, though, man.
So what are your thoughts on that? Like, these are two obviously international prospects that we're not going to be super familiar with, but it does seem like a trend. You got the guys like Luka Doncic, Victor Wembanyama coming over last year, right? Like there is a good history there with international prospects coming over into the NBA draft. So I don't know, are you super familiar with either of these guys?
I'm not super familiar with them. I have seen a few of their highlights on the timeline, though, and just some few things I've seen that look like it could translate over to the NBA. So, few things. It's just interesting to see, because like you said with Sarr, he declined the workouts with the Hawks, so that's kind of interesting to me. Like from a few reports I was diving into, he views himself more as a 4 than a 5. So it's, maybe he don't see himself, fitting in that Atlanta offense. But then again, who's to say like the Hawks may go into a complete rebuild mode here? They may trade, Trae Young and DeJounte and just start all over and potentially build around him. So it's interesting. Now the other guy you mentioned, which we both have a hard time saying his name, Zach. So
the French.
He's a wing. And if you're the Hawks, it's kind of interesting to see if you would draft him with the number 1 overall pick, considering the fact that you have a lot of wings on your team already. With DeAndre Hunter, Sadiq Bey, Bojanovic, Jalen Johnson. The list goes on and on. So I don't know if that'll be the right move. Me personally, I would have loved to see Sar go to the Hawks.
Yeah,
Eventually they'll move on from Capella because I feel like his days as a starting center is coming to an end. And a guy like Sar be, pretty good to throw in there. Young talent. He can stretch the floor. Good athleticism or whatnot. If you were to pair him alongside Trey Young and DeJounte, but then again, you never know, man. The Hawks may switch things up and just go into a complete rebuild mode. So it's interesting to see
yeah.
like which route they go to. But it is interesting that Sar did decline both of his workout invites with the Hawks, though.
I know. Yeah, that's exactly what I was just reading here. That they, yeah, it says here while it appears the Hawks are far from making final decisions, many teams say their intel indicates Risishir remains the favorite at number one, partially because of the dual track flexibility he offers of either remaining competitive next season or tapping into his upside as the type of big versatile wing that is difficult to acquire outside of the draft. So
Yeah.
it is interesting, right? The likes of DeAndre Hunter, they still have Bogdanovich there. A couple other guys on the Jalen Johnson obviously had a breakout year last year.
It's a
So
big bay.
it is interesting. Yeah, Sadiq Bey as well got thrown into the mix with the trade from Detroit. So it does kind of feel like Alex Sarr would be the
Yeah.
better fit because they're trying to move off Clint Capella. If he wants to play power forward, you do have Onyeka there as well. But I guess that does kind of clash with Jalen Johnson as well. He's kind of a true power forward.
Yeah. In today's era,
Interesting.
anyway. So
I did see they also worked out Reed Shepard, man. And ESPN's latest mock draft. I don't know how accurate this is, so don't hold me. It's ESPN, so um, they have Reed Shepard going number 3 to the Houston Rockets, and even the Hawks worked him out as well, right, with the number 1 pick. I'm just curious, man. Reed Shepard, I believe he's like 6'1.5", inches, really small for a point guard in the NBA. The athletic ability, he is very efficient. Like I did get a chance to watch him at Kentucky,
yeah.
but number 3 pick in the draft, bro. Like I just can't believe that. I don't know. I can't believe it. I'm worried about him. I don't know how well his game translates, but I
Yeah.
guess the efficiency is what they're looking at there. Because
Yeah.
even Stephon Castle, I like a lot more out of UConn. I know he's not
Yeah.
as efficient of a shooter like a scorer, but he does a little bit of everything. He's got a lot more size. He's 6'5". He can defend. I just think
Right.
stuff like that translates to the NBA a little bit easier.
Yeah. It
Um,
does.
they have him going to the San Antonio Spurs at the number 4 pick, which I think even that is still a little high there as well. But I actually do like that fit with San Antonio. And then they have them double dipping at number 8 with Rob Dillingham out of
Mm.
Kentucky. So going with 2 guards there, which they do need guards in San Antonio. I think
Yeah,
that's
they need
something we
more
could
guard play for sure.
probably agree on there.
I think Jeremy Sohan got moved to the one, right?
Yeah, last season, which
Yeah, he
was
did.
interesting. I mean, he's got a lot of the intangibles, but he does lacks a lot of the regular
Yeah,
skills as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
right?
Of a true
He's
point guard.
he's a weird player, but they made it. I don't know. They made it look decent last year, I guess. I don't know about him, as a starting point guard. Definitely not going forward. So them double dipping makes a lot of sense to me. Who's another guy you're looking at in the top 10, or what's another team you're looking at as far as like what could really make a difference for a team in this top 10, top 14, like lottery part of
Um, I would say this for answer that. I say the Rockets got some decisions to make though, because they got a lot of lottery picks on their team, man. Like, and then they got the number 3 pick. Like, I don't know if
yeah,
they look to trade it, for more of a vet, to get on the team or
right.
whatever. Because they do got a lot of lottery picks, I said, man. But it's interesting to see. But another guy to keep my eye on is Donovan from UConn. I feel like he could be a nice fit with a team like the Memphis Grizzlies, considering the fact that since they traded Steven Adams, they lack a true center. Like, you moved Jaron down to the 5. Me personally, I read Jaron more as a 4 than a 5. So you get a guy like Donovan in there.
Yeah.
It should be a nice fit alongside Ja. Desmond Bain and Jaron for sure.
Yeah, that's a good call
Donovan,
out.
yeah, that's a good one. And then the other guy I got my eyes on is I think his name is Matisse or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, from the
Buzelis.
From the G
Yeah,
League Ignite. Yeah, I feel like he got a nice skill set. I did watch a few of his highlights when he did play with the G League Ignite this past season. So he's a guy to keep your eyes on for sure. Potentially could land with a team like the Detroit Pistons. I feel like he can grow with those guys and
yeah,
yeah, develop with
yeah.
those young
Number
guys
five
over there.
pick.
Yeah.
No, I do like all of those. Specifically, Donovan Clingan. I think he's a guy that's going to translate really well to the NBA. I think you
Hmm.
just keep it simple, right? Rebound, defend. He can be a leader on the defensive side of the ball, as he showed at UConn,
Yeah.
and back-to-back championships. Part of those teams. Him and Stephon Castle. That's why I like Stephon Castle
Yeah.
so
I
much
like
as well.
Stephon too. Yeah.
That leadership factor, that willing to like do anything to win type of situation, fits in really well with San Antonio. But I did just read here that Houston, like you said, was maybe looking to trade back, and a team like San Antonio was looking to trade up to get once again Reed Shepard. So they're really intrigued in Reed Shepard as well. Dalton Connect, he's another guy that I think translates really well. Just like the ability to score, the ability to shoot, space the floor. He has a lot of intensity that comes with his game as well. So I think he would translate well. They have him going to Charlotte at number 6, which
Mm.
interesting next to LaMelo, right? Like as far as a scoring threat, it's interesting, but from a defensive stance, I don't know what their plan is there. But they're still young; they're building, so they don't have to worry about all of that. They just need to collect talent.
Yeah,
Um,
and let's say the younger brother of Jalen Williams. I think his name is Cody Williams. He
yeah,
played. He
out
played
of
at
Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could be an interesting prospect as well. But real quick, man, what are your thoughts on Bronny James though? Since we're talking about the draft, what are your thoughts on Bronny?
The rumors are so like widespread, bro. Like I don't really know what to believe. Like you just had Bill Simmons, I think, come out on his podcast and say how the Boston Celtics should draft Bronny James and hold him hostage to the rest of the league, like to see what LeBron may do or whatever the case may be, right? Um, LeBron, I believe there was a rumor that came out about LeBron saying like it doesn't matter where Bronny James is drafted now. I'm not worried about playing with him.
Yeah, I
So I
think
did
I
hear
seen that.
something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like he's definitely not a first round pick, but will a team reach for him in the first round in looks to like lure LeBron away from LA? I mean, it's a real thing. Um what's the team? I mean, in the top 20, you could look at Cleveland. Wouldn't that be funny? Cleveland at number 20. Um you got Toronto. That's not really it.
Yeah.
Orlando. Obviously, the Lakers could take him at
But
17.
the thing is though,
That's
like
super high, though.
he only worked out for 2 teams, and that was the Phoenix Suns and the Lakers. So I mean,
That is true, man.
I
Where's
don't
Phoenix
know.
picking? Phoenix must have a late. Yeah, they're at 22. So I mean, that could happen. I don't know. It is interesting. I don't know how I feel. It's so hard to gauge because there's been such wild reports. Um, and it is Rich Paul that you're dealing with once you get involved with him. So I don't know, man. You know who in this draft that isn't. It's hard to gauge where he's going to get drafted just because of all the outside noise that was involved with his investigation. But Terrence Shannon Jr. is another guy
Yeah.
that there just hasn't been a ton of focus on him. So I think one team is going to luck out and get a really good player just by drafting him, earlier in the first round. I think he is like if he would have got the chance to do his regular workouts and be involved in the early draft process, I think he is a top 15, top 18 talent at least with his experience coming out of college, man. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see what those allegations did to his draft stock because they have him going number 27 to Minnesota, which would be crazy in return. Just thinking about his fit, put him next to a guy like Ant Edwards with that type of personality, and that type of drive. I think that would be interesting to see play out there. But
Yeah.
um, It's interesting, going into this draft, man. It obviously is reported one of the weaker drafts in recent years. And I definitely feel that going into the draft. There's you go into it, there's a couple guys that you're interested in, you're intrigued by, right? Like I am intrigued by even Jared McCain. Like they've talked about him potentially going to the Sixers at 16. Obviously would love that as a Duke fan, but how does it translate to the NBA? There's just, I don't know if there's that prospect that truly, truly sticks out, like it's going to come in and make that impact. Not a Zion or Victor Wembanyama impact, but a decent impact in their first year. And it's hard to
Yeah,
measure who's going to be able to do that, I feel.
yeah, you're right, man. I feel like Terrence, he definitely should be like a first round pick. Like obviously he was dealing with the allegations and whatnot, but he's a pretty good talent. So I can pretty much see him fitting on a lot of teams that got like late first round picks. So
Yeah.
yeah, like you mentioned, like it could turn out to be something good. Obviously it probably not start off like strong because he was dealing with a lot or whatever. But I feel like it'll be a
Yeah.
good thing for him though. So
Yeah. He's a little bit older too, right? Like he spent a few more years in college.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it is interesting, man, because it even says here it's hard to measure where he will go in the draft. It's just how closely are these teams looking at those allegations? Even though he's found
yeah,
not guilty, sometimes you're still held accountable for these types of situations. There's still people that are going to believe that he did it. You know what I mean? And it's not fair, but it kind of is what it is. I do think a team's going to luck out in the late first round by drafting him. So is interesting. I'm obviously looking forward to next year's draft with Cooper Flag coming out of Duke.
Cooper, man.
Highly touted prospect. I don't know if you saw some of the Duke,
I've seen it, man.
scout
I've
tape
been
so
seeing it.
far. It
I've been seeing
it's
it.
very fun to watch. There's a lot of talent in
Yeah.
there.
Oh, Cooper Flag, man.
Oh man, I'm excited for that. But let's talk some rumors, man. Let's start here. Marshawn Lynch said, "What the f are the Bulls doing, fam?"
We would never
Um,
know, bro. We would never know, man.
how do you feel about the Caruso for Josh Giddey trade? Because you're the one that actually sent this to me. You broke the news to me with this.
I feel like it could be a win. Well, obviously it's a win for the Thunder, but
Yeah,
I definitely feel like the Bulls got a young, talented prospect here. Like Josh Giddey is not a shrub by any means. Like he could be arguably like the franchise player of this team. Like who knows? Or he could be a piece you build around. But I like this trade for both teams. Now a lot of Bulls fans are kind of upset considering the fact that they didn't get any draft picks in the deal, which I can understand that. But
yeah,
I mean, overall, you got one hell of a talented young player who you can build around and grow with. And the Thunder got exactly what they needed. I mean, you watching the playoffs, like look at the Celtics, like they got two elite guards who can guard on the wing. In the Thunder, they already had Dort, and now that you add Caruso to that, you
yeah.
got two
That's a
elite
crazy
guards.
combo.
Yeah, you got two elite guards, man, who go out there and guard the best of them. And you need guys like that in a loaded Western Conference anyway. So I feel like it's a win-win trade for both. It's just crazy to me how I guess the Bulls GM just seen that he couldn't get, he couldn't finesse other teams because, like I text you, he tried to get Kaminga and draft picks for
Yeah,
Caruso, which is crazy to me, man.
yeah.
But hey, he got Josh Giddey, so I feel like it's a win-win for both sides in a sense.
I I do see what you mean. Like it's not like an L. Like it's not like a major L. It's
Yeah,
just that it does feel like you could have gotten more. But I mean, they pulled the trigger early. They got Caruso. Maybe it was one of those things where they're kind of honoring what Caruso where he wanted to go. I'm not sure. I'm not basing
yeah.
that off of
It
anything.
very much so could have been though.
Yeah, but he does really fit well in OKC. I will say
He
that it's
does,
a
yeah, he
great fit.
does.
And you talked about him and Lou Dort, and it's interesting because now you look at that direct matchup with Dallas. You have somebody to guard Kyrie now, and I'm not saying he's going to strap Kyrie up, but Caruso is one of the better perimeter defenders in the NBA. So you got
Yeah,
Lou Dort for Luka, you got Caruso for Kyrie, and that's a thing now in the West, right? The Mavs made it to the finals. They're a team you have to kind of plan for, similar to Denver. But yeah, I do like the trade. I do think there's room for like Josh Giddey to grow in Chicago.
Yeah.
It is just more of the it feels like you could have gotten at least a draft pick along
Yeah,
with
I
Giddey.
do.
Like
Yeah.
OKC has a ton of draft picks. Like
Yes,
you
they
couldn't
does,
just get
bro.
one of those.
They does.
So I don't know. It's like a mid trade, I guess, for Chicago to me. It's a great trade for OKC, but it could turn into a good trade, I believe.
Yeah, it
Because like
could
you said,
like yeah,
Giddey
Josh
is a
Giddey pretty
talented
talented,
player.
you know. His it just was the fit with the Thunder. Like it just wasn't there anymore, especially like when Chet came back and then the way
Yeah.
that J Dub he started to play. So it was kind of like an awkward moment for him. You know, I think he only shot like 10 shots a game last season, so I think he would need more than that. But somebody said, it's crazy, but somebody said about Josh Giddey, freaky ass guy. He a 6'9" guard, bro. I said, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here, bro? This is wild, man.
He is such an interesting player, though. I mean, from a playmaking perspective, and to your point, the fit was really off in OKC. Um, he had some good moments in OKC,
Yeah,
right?
he
Like where
did.
he
Yeah,
did look like he could be a really good player. It's also that fit with SGA, right? Like where he operates, his
yeah.
playmaking ability, his need to have the ball in his hands. Josh Giddey is just not a guy that is going to be able to play off the ball like
Not
that. I
like
feel.
that. Yeah, not like that. No.
But next to Kobe White, right? Like that's a decent fit. Should be fun at least. They need to go young though. Like that's the thing with the Chicago Bulls. When you say what the fuck are they doing? They need to go young. Like they need to let DeMar DeRozan walk. You need to try to trade Zach Lavine.
Yeah, Lonzo.
You got plenty, you got plenty of options around there. Lonzo, yeah, do what you can with that. Like see
Yeah,
what you can
Nikola
do.
Vucevic. You got to get those guys out
You
of
got
there,
to get
man.
him off the books, right? Like, and just go with that young squad: Kobe White, the Ayo Dosunmu's, that those
Yeah.
type of players. Even Patrick
Patrick
Williams,
Williams. Yeah, interesting to see if they keep him.
you could
You know.
see about
Yeah.
keeping him for a certain number, but they just need to go in more of a youth direction and accept where they're at. They're in a rebuild. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to take that on the chin. But I think
Yeah.
this was partially the first step in doing that. Talking about Zach Lavine, though, since we brought him up there's rumored to be, teams turning down, Chicago Bulls phone calls about Zach Lavine. I know the Sixers were rumored to have done that. But then there is like the bright side of things. Apparently, the Kings are one of the teams that are actually interested in Lavine. Um, what do you think about the fit? Like, do the Kings make sense? Is there another team you're looking at that maybe makes a little bit more sense for Zach Lavine?
The Kings make perfect sense. Like a backcourt of him and De'Aaron Fox would be.
That's
I
deadly.
would, yeah, it would be nice for sure. Like they would feed off each other so well. And when I look at the Kings, they had like the right assets to go out there and get them. You know, you could throw in, Herder and Harrison Barnes contract and make it work. And then they just extended Malik Monk, so they definitely had the pieces to go out there and get it done. And I think it'd be a nice fit him playing on Sabonis as well too. Like how good of a playmaker Sabonis is as a center. So I feel like they all can fit up each other pretty well. But off the top of my head, I can't really think of no other team besides the Kings that just makes sense with Zach at this stage of his career. Obviously, I would like to say my Warriors, but I only wanted
Contract.
Zach Lavine if Caruso was in the deal, if I'm being honest. So,
Ah.
yeah. But he's
What if
gone now, so.
what if you were able to swing like I don't even know if it's possible, but like a sign and trade, like somehow you end up getting Zach Lavine, trading Chris Paul, but you lose Klay Thompson. Like, would you rather have Klay Thompson?
Probably so from a health standpoint to be exact, because we all know Zach Lavine has been dealing with that for the past couple
Yeah.
seasons. So you just don't know
And
if he's going to be
chemistry.
available or whatnot. So it's kind of a risky thing. And then also, like you mentioned with his contract, I mean, he's making like 40 million a year. So
Right.
it's
I don't even
interesting,
know
but
how it would work.
yeah, you just want to know how it would work. So I probably would go with keep Clay in that situation. So yeah,
No, I think I agree with you, man. There's just something questionable about Zach Lavine right now, and he's got to build his value back up, man. There's something
Yeah.
off, right? I think we just need to see him be healthy and play some good basketball. It seemed like he was really banged up all last season. That's really brought his value down. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can get off of him and what they actually get in return. Because I think they're going to have to kind of give out to get rid of him in a sense. Let's look at another guy, Paul George, man. The rumors just keep going up and down with Paul George. What have we heard latest about Paul George? I know you had something for me at the beginning of the show.
Podcast piece. So I seen what it is, Sean's Corona up there. He said that the Sixers was basically not interested in signing him anymore. Like, I don't know if it has something to do with, as me and you was talking about our last episode, with the clips that came out of on his podcast, you know, the lack of accountability and things like that. And also what I mentioned to you about, you know, him and James Harden potentially discussing what it's like being around Daryl Morey or whatever. So it's interesting. Like, that was the thing, like the Sixers basically, like, in a sense of ways, not interested anymore. Like, you know, obviously, like, he wants the max, and it's interesting to see if the Sixers are giving that, because you brought up, like, he is 34 years of age, so that max contract will last him till about 38 or whatnot. So, yeah, man, it's interesting. So
It is. It's really weird to me, I guess, you know, for the Sixers to kind of put that rumor out there at that time. Like, you just don't need to do that. You know, there was the other side of the rumor is like that there's like bigger opportunities that they're looking towards, maybe in the trade market. But why put that out there? It's just weird. Paul George is interesting, right? Because like you have the whole situation going on with the Clippers. They're really not trying to give him, you know, big money to stay there. But they do want to get him back somehow, right? But then there's rumors of really the only way another team's going to get him is through a sign and trade. So you're going to have to sign the contract anyways and then get traded. So it doesn't really make sense in that regard. And this is his first opportunity to be like an actual free agent. So like, why not take that opportunity when you have the chance to be the best free agent available? Where do you see Paul George ending up? Like, what's your feel on Paul George's situation right now?
he definitely not come back to the Clippers, because they had over a year now to like get
Figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out, and they still haven't. So that there tells me that he's not going back there. Honestly, man, there's a lot of teams that he would fit good on. I like him playing with your Sixers, though. Like him feeding off Joel Embiid, those guys playing the pick and roll, and Tyrese Maxey. That'll be a nice trio out there in the East. But outside of them, like, maybe you could throw in a team like, I don't know, even Sacramento. Like, if they can make
That's
something
another.
happen, like, you
Yeah.
know, they got Fox, Sabonis. They got the pieces to go out there and get it done. So that's if a sign and trade was to happen, though. Like, if he had to go
Yeah.
sign to a team, obviously you got, you know, your Sixers, the Magic. You know, I would obviously think he would want to compete, so I wouldn't mention teams like the Pistons or, you know, things like that. So I feel like the Sixers probably makes the most sense, man, if I'm being honest. But it's up to y'all if y'all want to give him this max deal, because he's looking for like a 4-year deal, I'm sure of. So
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I've said before, the 38-year-old Paul George. At the end of the day, I would do it. I would just do what it takes to bring him in. Like, if that's our route, if there is, you know, something out there that maybe you can do a little bit less, or maybe it's a Lauri Markkanen. Like, that's my dream. You know what I mean? That's my dream. I don't think it's
everybody's dream, man.
But Brandon Ingram's another name that's come up. You know, the Pelicans are trying hard to get rid of him. I'm kind of like going back and forth between Brandon Ingram and Paul George as options. And I don't know. It's like Brandon Ingram's 26 years old, right? Like he's averaged 20 plus points per game. He can rebound, he can defend. It's really, you know, the only thing that kind of turns you off to Brandon Ingram is his personality. Like, but I haven't followed him that closely to even say that. But I don't know. There's times where he just looks maybe uninterested, or I don't know how to explain it. But I think it's really the thing that, turns people off to Brandon Ingram. It feels like it is his personality, like his approach to the game, rather than his actual skill set and what he does on the court. So I don't know. It becomes more of a fit thing just because Brandon Ingram isn't a prolific 3-point shooter compared to the likes of like Paul George, right? Who shoots the 3 ball quite often and he's pretty good at it. It feels like Paul George is the better fit, but Paul George to 38, Brandon Ingram to 30. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to measure which one of those moves would be better.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. That definitely plays a factor, like the age thing, like Ingram, 26 to 30, then PG 34 to 38. So
Right.
that's
And
huge.
you
But then
might not give Ingram the max. Like, is he getting the max? I don't
I was
know.
about to say, like, I was just about to bring it up. I've been seeing a few reports that he's looking to get paid, man. So I don't know if y'all
See,
willing to give him like 35 million a year, because he's eligible for a contract extension right now. So
yeah.
if the Pelicans trade him, I'm sure he will be looking for an extension for sure. So it's interesting, man.
Marshawn.
Come on, man. Don't do my guy BI like that, man.
Man, he does. He catches some heat, man. And I do get it because like there is, I've said it on Twitter. There's signs of like Tobias type fit there that really, really worries me. But I just feel like he does other things better than Tobias. He rebounds better. He defends better.
Yeah, he's a better shot creator
playmaker.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
He can create his own shot way better. So
I feel like he could surprise us. I really feel like he could.
He could. When BI on one, he on one though.
What'd you say?
When Brandon Ingram is on one, he is on one. So I will say that.
Yeah, like when he gets hot, right? And that's the thing. Like going to a new place, it kind of inspires you in a different sense. Like it can, right? Like maybe playing next to Embiid, playing next to Maxey, maybe that, helps him turn a new leaf. I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic there, but that's one of the rumors. Along with that rumor is the idea of a Tobias Harris sign and trade to New Orleans, with the New Orleans Pelicans, the San Antonio Spurs, Detroit Pistons. I believe the Dallas Mavericks were in there as well as teams interested in Tobias Harris.
Yeah, Tobias when he get the max, man. Sixers legend. Let's go. Tobias.
Nah, I mean the max sign and trade. The max sign and trade. That might happen. But I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah, he's the Sixers, man.
He's commanding over $30 million in the open market, Slim. Like he doesn't need to come back to the Sixers.
He's going to make money over $30 million. Wow.
That's the rumor that I saw is that Tobias is looking at offers north of $30 million annually. I think it's nuts. I think it's completely nuts.
Yeah, so much for that NBA insider joining our podcast too, bro. I meant to tell you, bro. I seen what you said about Tobias yesterday when I trolled you, and I said he getting the max. You know that comment you made?
What did I say?
You said something, because he was defending Tobias, and then you had something to say under his post.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the NBA insider I actually had just hit up, bro. So much for him coming on, man.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
I did not know that. That's hilarious.
It is.
Though, why is he defending Tobias like that? That's why you was bringing him on.
Well, not really. I mean, I literally just emailed this dude yesterday, bro.
This Tobias propaganda.
Bro. Yeah, I said, dang, bro, what Scotty got going on over there, man? Come on, man. Let's
he said go watch the film, bro. He said go watch the film.
Yeah.
Of the 0-point game in game 6 against New York. There's no film for a 0-point game. There's no film to watch. You're going to be watching other players doing stuff. So I don't know. I was just having fun. It was no.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Being mean. I was just asking questions.
Yeah.
Like, does he work for Tobias? Like, it's a real question. Like,
somebody said is
go out on a limb.
Tobias Harris' brother-in-law, or something like that. I don't know. Man, we
Like
gotta
you
start
just
talking about Tobias, bro. I feel like we come across this man's name too much, bro.
yeah. Hey, you bring him up though. You bring him up. I've tried to move on because I've got
Yeah,
no good things left to say about him. But
yeah, we gotta start talking about this guy, bro.
this is like a Tobias. Yeah, we do. We got to stop. I feel that. I really do. But out of those teams that I listed, right, the San Antonio Spurs, the Dallas Mavericks just went to the finals. New Orleans Pelicans. Which of those teams do you feel like would be a good fit for Tobias Harris? Like, what
um,
makes sense?
I would have to say the Mavericks. Like he can provide better scoring. I feel like than Tim
Better than what
Hardaway.
they had.
Yeah, he could be like a third option. He could give you about 16, 17 points per game. So I feel like that would be a pretty good fit at size. Yeah, I win a company, but I gotta represent, bro. I
I
gotta
hear
represent.
that. I
Yeah,
hear
I gotta
that.
represent, man.
Kate, I had that shit jumping.
Yeah, I gotta represent, bro. I got to.
I
But
mean, put the nail in the coffin,
yeah,
bro.
just throw the flag up, bro. This
Oh
shit is
my
crazy,
god.
bro. I thought
I
I could
mean,
never
watching
see a
that
person
live.
get buried alive until I seen this shit. But
He did the not like a 6 times in a row, bro. Like that was incredible to watch. It was
it was, man.
an
Just
incredible historic moment.
yeah, for sure.
Shout out to Kate.
Yes. Yeah,
It
Drake,
don't
man.
matter where we from. It don't matter where we from, Marshall. We can recognize
Yeah,
greatness,
we
right?
can
Like
recognize greatness, bro.
ain't
You know?
nothing going on over here that is matching that. Now, if J. Cole wants to, put on something on the East Coast, in the Carolina region, if he wants to put on something of that level, then I'm here for that as well. I know he's done some shows with some of his crew, but
Yeah,
get something together like that on the East Coast. That would be tough. Bring in the ASAP Rockies, some of the Atlanta rappers, right? Like you can do
yeah.
that, but nobody has done it. K. Dot did that with the West Coast, and yeah, that shit was fire. I don't got the Compton shirt on. I ain't repping as hard as Slim, but
K Dot, man. Shout out K Dot.
J. Cole done folded.
Come
He
on, man. I
did
give my
in
guy
the
J.
sense
Cole
of
like
K.
that.
Dot. He did fold. He did, but he did the smart thing. Honestly,
Yeah, man. I do my guy J. Cole like that, man. Cold world. But yeah, Tobias would be actually a good fit with Dallas though. I feel like so. Yeah,
I
Dallas
do
for
feel
sure.
you. I do feel you. I think there's like less pressure there than a Philadelphia media fans as well.
Yeah.
Um, it's a lot different fit with like Luca and Kyrie compared to like Tobias or compared to Joel Embiid and Tyrese
Yeah.
Maxey. So I do feel you. It'll be interesting. Does he go to Dallas, take a little bit less money? Does he go to a Detroit, a San Antonio to try to get that bigger contract? It is going to be the last. I would imagine the last big contract of his career,
Yeah.
depending how big it is. But let's talk about the Lakers, man. They signed JJ Redick as their head coach. How
Yeah.
do you think this impacts LeBron James and him coming back or returning to the league? I did see a rumor that he is planning to opt out. I don't know how accurate that is, but I did see a rumor there.
I think he opted out to sign a longer deal. At this stage of his career, I don't think it makes
It's
much
a bigger
much
deal.
sense to like leave, but then against the NBA, man, you truly never know what may go down. So I feel like them getting JJ should definitely help them keep LeBron in the sense of ways. So yeah, I can see LeBron staying with LA for sure. I feel like them hiring JJ was probably the most obvious thing to do. Like your options on the
Yeah.
market wasn't really, it wasn't really a lot of guys out there. So I feel like them hiring JJ was probably the right move to do.
It is interesting because I do like wonder like LeBron's motivations, right? Like
Yeah.
just like at this point in his career, like is he focused on getting that, that next ring, or is he just focused on kind of riding off into the sunset, still being able to compete at a high level? They'll make the playoffs, they'll compete. It's AD. You got Austin Reeves out there. They'll be able to add something in the offseason somehow
Yeah.
to try to compete a little bit further there. Maybe not contend for a ring or be the favorites. But maybe that's just where LeBron is at his career, right? Like rather than ring chasing, moving his whole family around, like taking his wife across the country to go to, the Sixers or go down to, Dallas with the Mavs or Houston, whatever the case may be. it feels like it would be a lot for LeBron to do that. But that's kind of how I feel about Paul George as well, man. Like I know
Yeah,
LeBron's a little bit older, but you're out there in LA. It's just like moving away from that
yeah. Then
feels
like
really
PG got his
weird at that
PG
age.
got his podcast thing down there too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like you
so
got
yeah,
plants there, and I know LeBron definitely has some business out there as well,
yeah,
as much business as he does. So it is interesting. It does feel like LeBron's going to go back there. Maybe the Lakers do take Bronny James in the first round at that 17th pick. I don't think anybody's going to take him before that, but you never really know. Um, the other team I wanted to talk about here before we get out of here, my man, the New York Knicks, right? So the rumors with OG Anunoby. I have seen rumors they're trying to trade Mitchell Robinson in order to make room for Isaiah Hartenstein to bring him back. Um, Looking at the New York Knicks, what do you think is their move? Like, how surprised are you that they're hesitant to give OG Anunoby the contract that he wants?
I'm kind of surprised. I feel like it would be a no-brainer to go out
Bring
there
him
and
back.
just bring them back. But then again, it is tough though, considering the fact that they got a lot of guys on payroll, man. I mean, you talk about
Yeah,
Josh Hart, Dante, Randall Brunson, Mitchell Robinson. I think they gave Grimes a pretty nice contract, so they got a lot of guys on payroll. But I mean, this is OG, man, an elite wing defender who can provide you some offense. So
yeah,
you would think it'd be a no-brainer for them to go out there and get it done. But I feel like they'll still get it done. They may look to move off for Randall contract though, to try to make things work a little better, so they can go out there and have a little bit more flexibility to go sign other
yeah,
players. So yeah, I feel like they'll still get it done because I don't see them just trading RJ Barrett for trading RJ Barrett and quickly
right.
for OG just to let him walk. So I don't think that would be a smart investment. But then again, man, it's the NBA. You truly never know. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
it is crazy to think about. Obviously, there was reports about like OG's injury history, some of the reviews that they've gotten back recently with
yeah,
exams, and so they're just unsure about his health going forward. It is interesting. You bring up Julius Randle. I think that's an interesting name. Like, what is his value right now
yeah,
around the league? Are teams interested in what type of teams are interested in him? But maybe it does come down to that, like moving his contract. Isaiah Hartenstein was a big part of what they did in the post, especially against the Sixers, just from personal experience.
yeah,
He definitely cooked us. So I do think it is a big deal for them to bring him back. But like you said, OG Anunoby is that prototypical like wing defender that you need in the postseason, especially against the likes of the Boston Celtics.
yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It is weird. OG Anunoby is such a weird player when it comes to paying him because you look at his numbers, man. Is he a max contract guy? 14 points per game, 1.7 steals per game, 4 rebounds per game, 1 assist per game. But he is a plus defender, right? And so
Yeah.
it gets a little gray where
Yeah.
you think about how to pay him. I
Maybe
don't
I'm a
know.
little bit biased when it comes down to defense, but I would just give him the max because he's in the beyond elite defender. Like he can go out 1 through 5 if we're being honest here. So
Yeah.
I would just give him the max, man. I feel like you have nothing to lose in this situation. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I do feel you. I think in this case specifically with the Knicks, like you said, you trade RJ Barrett for him, you trade Emmanuel quickly. Those are two quality players in my opinion. Two young players, and you get him back. You kind of got to bring him back, and just see what
Yeah.
it looks like over a full season. Like I think
Yeah.
that's the best plan to go with here. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see what the Knicks do. Another team, maybe they could get in on the Zach Lavine sweepstakes. Maybe that's a swap that you can make.
Interesting.
Julius Randle. Once again, I don't know what Julius Randle's value really is out there right now. The Wizards, man, what did they do this offseason? Obviously, they got the draft picks that they can look forward to, but what do you do with Kyle Kuzma and some of the other older pieces they have?
Um,
I believe Tyus Jones a free agent, so they don't
yeah,
have to
yeah.
worry about
Ty's a
that.
free agent. You probably should just let him walk. But I'd definitely try to trade Kuzma for some, young assets and draft picks or whatever to move forward. Because contending teams are going to be looking to get him. So I feel like you should let
Yeah.
them move on
Where do
from
you
him. I
think he
don't,
would fit?
man. I know I've been saying this a lot, but the Kings, man, like he would be a nice fit with the Kings. I feel like he's an upgrade over Harrison Barnes because he can provide you like
Definitely. Yeah.
19 to 20 points per game. So I feel like they can go out there and get him. He'll be a nice fit alongside Sabonis. So and Fox as well. So yeah, I can see Kuz being on the Kings, man.
Hey, it's the off season, Marshall.
It's the off
The
season, man.
Wizards are a big part of this off season. Is
Yeah, man. Today makes
bad
a whole
or
year since we traded Jordan Poole to the Wizards, man. Like,
a year. Yeah, you did say that before the show. It's the year anniversary of the Jordan Poole trade, which
yeah.
is another guy. Like, does he just he kind of has to stick around
Yeah, I
there,
feel like
right?
they keep him though, because he
That
was starting to
contract
figure it out in the second half of the season. Though I've been watching him, so
started to play a little bit
yeah,
better.
he's trying to play a little bit better. So
I when you talked about saying it all show, I thought you were gonna say the Dallas Mavericks for Kyle Kuzma. And I think that's another place where he
yeah,
could
that's a good
fit
fit
pretty
too. I'm not
well.
gonna lie, that is a good fit though.
He played
It
his best
really
ball in
is.
the West Coast, man, with the Lakers. So maybe he plays a lot better out in Sacramento as well. Maybe he's a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, I could see that potentially happen, but man, send me like the
This
Bobcats. Man, come on, bro. The Bobcats, bro. Really? Really? The team that had what Kemba Walker, Al Jefferson, those guys, Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
That's
Bobcats.
hilarious, though. That was a nice, fun team. Like they were never gonna win anything, but it was a fun team at least.
Man,
Um,
how about my Warriors though, man? Like, where do they go from here, bro?
what do you think? Yeah, that's a good
It's
question. Like, what are you thinking? Like
like
Clay Thompson, you got the Chris Paul contract. What's next, right?
I don't know. That's the tough thing. Like, if you think about it, man, this team it's basically we're in a trap right now. Like, it's hard to like do stuff. Like, I don't know, man. It's tough because I know not to get my hopes up too high, knowing that what type of team we are, hesitant to do certain trades or whatever. And then not even that, like teams are not looking to help us by any means, bro. Like
Yeah,
if anything, they're
exactly.
looking to finesse us. So I mean, I would give Clay we offer him like a 2 year, $48 million contract, and he declined. He want more like a long term secure, like a
Yeah,
3 year type of deal.
fair enough.
So it's tough to say should we give him that. I'm all on board of giving it to him, but we got to make some type of move, man. Like we can't just run the same team back and then
Yeah.
expect to like compete for a championship by any means. So yeah, man, it's interesting to see like which route we go to.
CP3 is not a free agent, right?
So we have a deadline coming up to accept his contract or like waive it. So technically he's not one now. So, but we have the option to like waive it or like keep it to use for a trade or something like that. So
But you would have to eat some of the contract if you did waive him.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's interesting because obviously with y'all's team, Kaminga can obviously take another jump.
Yep.
Moses Moody, you still have him there. Jackson Davis, another young guy. You have some young guys here. You'll be able to get another young guy in the draft. Obviously Pods, he was really good last year. He could take another jump with the experience there. But when does when do you start to think about like blowing this up? And I'm not saying it's this year, but like if as a smart if you're the Warriors owner or GM, when do you have to start considering it? Or do you just keep Steph Curry, you keep Draymond Green until they decide to retire, and kind of let them ride off into the sunset? Like, what are your thoughts there? Like, is there any world where you guys are just floating in like 10, 11 seed territory or nine seed territory, 9 to 11 in the Western Conference, kind
Yeah.
of like last year, but again, right? Is that is that knocking on the door, or are you not even considering that at all?
I mean, Joe Lacob. I mean, I don't know the guy, but I would have to assume that if he's paying this expensive payroll and this team can't even make the playoffs, let alone get past the play-in tournament, you
Yeah,
would have to think that there would be some major changes going on because there's no way that like I think we had like top three most expensive payroll in the league. So I mean, you can't be
yeah.
paying that much and then not even making the postseason. So I definitely could see a moment where things could change. Like maybe he's had enough or whatnot. But it's some moves out there that can be made to help us overall. It's just about like getting it done and your will to like trade this guy, even though he's been with us for so long. So it's definitely some moves
Yeah,
out there. But I would love to see Steph, Clay, and Dre ride out in the sunset together. I mean, they've been together
yeah,
so long, but
I feel that.
sometimes it just can be tough though, man. If you're still trying to compete for a championship in this league, man. So
And it's another one of
decisions have
those.
to be made.
It's one of those things where, like, once again, like, does Steph really want to move from the Golden Coast, like, and move to another,
Yeah.
take his family? Like, does he really want to do that at this point in his career? And same thing with Draymond down the line, Klay Thompson. Like, I would imagine Klay Thompson at least stays in California, goes to like the Kings or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't see those guys shifting across the country, at their age. So it is interesting in that sense. But I did see a rumor. It's funny. Yeah, Marshawn Lynch brings it up here, talking about Moses Moody. I did see. I don't know if it was a rumor or more of like a hypothetical thought, like an idea.
Yeah.
But Moses Moody for the 16th pick in
Yeah,
the
for the
draft.
16th pick, yeah.
How open to that would you be? Like, do you think that's
Um,
worth it? What do you think
yeah,
both sides of it?
I would do it for sure. I mean, Moses to me, like, he just hasn't gotten like a lot of consistent minutes with us. Like, he
Yeah.
had his stretches. Like, he's a pretty good young talented player. Like, he does pretty much everything that you need him to do. He dive for loose balls, hustle guy. Like, he pretty much does it all. So he just need like the right amount of minutes. Like, he couldn't get that from us. It was just tough because we had a lot of guys playing that wing position. So yeah, it was tough, but I would probably consider doing that, man. If y'all take good care of my guy Moses, though, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's look at our roster right now. We got Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Ricky Council, and Paul Reed on contract. So there's room for Moses Moody, and I think that is something to consider if you're the Sixers, just because he is a player that has proven he can at least be a role player in the NBA, and
Yeah,
that's something that they're looking for. He's still a young player, that could still get better with more opportunities. Only 22, actually. Did not know that.
yeah.
But
This is
yeah,
his fourth
still,
NBA season coming up, so
yeah. So he's got experience too. He was out there with the Warriors. It would be something I would be open to. Like you said, he does a little bit of everything. But it would be interesting to see the Warriors go that route. That, I mean, that goes more of a younger route, right? With the
yeah,
16th pick. What are you gonna do with that?
yeah.
Um, what about the Clippers though? Like, if you're the Clippers, what are you? It feels like they're bringing James Harden back, right?
Yeah, because I think I brought this up last episode. It's like in a sense of ways you have to pay him because you lose that salary slot. Like you just can't replace the money he's making. Like
Yeah.
so,
He
you
can't like
have to like
walk and then you get someone else. It's
yeah,
either him
like
or
for 30
nothing.
million or something like that. That's not
Yeah.
the case here. So I would predict that they would extend him and bring him back. So, but it's just interesting to see which route they head in, man. Because we talked about the Paul George and Kawhi duo. Like they've been together six
Yeah.
seasons now, and they haven't really accomplished anything together. So I mean, even if you go back to when they made the Western Conference Finals a few years ago, like Paul George led the way. Kawhi didn't even play, pretty much at all during that run. So it was just interesting to see like what route they go. Because don't they have their own arena next season or something like that?
Yeah, they got a new arena coming. So that's like, you can't be rebuilding with a brand
Yeah,
new arena you're trying to sell tickets to. That's just not
yeah,
not smart financially. And they
yeah.
did extend Kawhi. So they do need to they have to make some decisions to move forward here and try to compete.
Yeah, I think you
Um,
can keep Kawhi. Just probably move on from PG, man. Just go out there and
yeah,
get another guy. Like, hopefully he do you a solid and do like some type of sign and trade.
that would help them a lot.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
help him out. So,
What about Russ? You think he's done in LA?
I would hope he stay in LA. He loved that area. His
Yeah,
family and stuff from the area. So,
might
I
be
would.
what's
I could.
best for him.
Yeah, I could see him staying with the Clippers. For sure.
One more thing before we get out of here, and if you have anything else, obviously throw it out on the table here. But the Phoenix Suns, that's the last team I wanted to kind
Ah
of
man,
focus in on here.
Phoenix.
Because there hasn't been a ton of noise around Phoenix and what they're gonna do this offseason. But at the same time, are y'all running that back? like they extended Grayson Allen. They gave him a nice fat contract. You already obviously got Devin Booker locked in. You got Bradley Beal's contract. You got KD there, obviously, with a fat contract. What do you consider this offseason? Like, is there any world where Kevin Durant gets traded is really what I'm trying to ask.
I doubt it, though. I would be kind of shocked if he did get traded. Yeah, I would be. Considering the fact that, I mean, this is what he had a full season last season. He played half a season when he got traded there. So, I mean, you got to get better pieces around those guys. Like, they don't really have enough defenders in my opinion. Like, they just didn't. So, start there and see if you can upgrade over Nurkic as well. Like, see what piece you can go out there and get for him and other guys on the roster. So, and it's interesting to see like how Mike Budenholzer going to hold up as a head coach. Coaching those guys. So, yeah, it's just about like the roster. Really, it's the roster thing for me. Like, even if they trade Bradley Beal, like, maybe you can go out there and get better pieces to put around, Book and KD. So yeah, it's interesting to see which route they go.
I feel like Bradley Beal is he's like untradeable at where he's at right now, value wise. But I do agree. Maybe that's something like build your roster out so that you can make Bradley Beal the like 6-man type of situation, right? Like that spark off the bench.
That's the thing, though, man. I doubt he do that. It's a pride thing.
He's not gonna be willing to do that.
It's a pride thing, bro. He's not gonna do that.
Fit next to Devin Booker, I just don't like it, man. Like either of them running point guard, I don't like it. Like I think Devin Booker is a shooting guard. Bradley Beal is a shooting guard. You know what I mean?
They're both scoring guards. So yeah.
So I don't know. It is interesting. Marshawn, you clocking me, man. But yes, I am trying to grow my hair out and get some braids, man. You see the flow coming out of the hat. It's really wild right now. That's why I always have a hat on during the show. But yeah, I am gonna get my hair braided. I'm trying to grow it out longer though, because I want some longer braids. But I don't know. I do understand if you go ahead and cornrow it or braid it, it'll grow faster. So that might be the proper route for me to go. But yeah, you clocking me.
Yeah, come on, Marshawn, man.
Clocking. I know my hair is a mess, man. That's why I got the hat on.
Saturday, dog. Wait, Marshawn a Sixers fan, right?
Yeah. He's a sicko.
Okay, so he can agree that Tobias is going to get the max too. Okay, so
bro,
I feel that. Yeah.
Marshawn, tell him your thoughts on Tobias, man. Please, let him know.
No profanity, bro. No profanity, though, man.
Tobias, hey, he's gonna watch. This is what's gonna happen. No, I'm not even joking. Tobias Harris is gonna go to the Dallas Mavericks. And he's gonna look like a completely different player because that's just how things work.
That's how it goes, bro. That's how it goes.
And you have success. Yep. So this right here. That's it. The crumble cookies are moving, man. It's over. It's over, bro. It's it. But
Nick Nurse.
We got the NBA draft later this week. Maybe that brings some trades about. That's definitely going to heat up as we get closer to that. And then, of course, free agency starting shortly after that. It should be real fun to see how this all plays out. I'm interested for the news to start breaking. Got Malik Monk back to the Kings, Caruso to OKC. Some of the bigger moves so far. Siakam back on the max with Indiana. So some news is dropped. There is more to come. Slim, you got anything else before we get out of here, my man?
That's pretty much it, man. Make sure y'all tap in with us again next week. We will be back for more, the pod. So let's get into it.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the NBA to the Galaxy pod on YouTube. And be sure to check us out on Twitter. You can find Slim at RTR30111 and myself at Scotty Drown. That is going to be it for this episode of NBA to the Galaxy pod. Happy Saturday. Slim, if you want to plug your pod, basically, if you want to explain it, Slim, he's asking about your pod before we get out of here.
It's basically like, how should I say this? Because me and you basically link up, so it's really more so a me and you thing. But sometimes I will like venture off and have, Yeah, like
warrior stuff.
warrior guest, yeah, stuff like that. So yeah, you can follow me at To the Galaxy Pod on YouTube. That's where you can find my YouTube channel at. So
Yes, sir. Yes,
yeah.
sir. And that's you'll also find every episode of NBA to the
Yeah,
Galaxy
because
pod
I
on
got
there.
it. I actually got it broken down. It's in playlists. I got like everything me and you done together is in the playlist, and then I got the things I do with myself in the playlist. So yeah,
Perfect.
it's
Perfect.
pretty much everything broken down. So
Yes, sir. That yeah, you a real one, Marshawn. We appreciate you.
yeah, shout out my
Uh
son.
Everybody else out there watching, we would appreciate if you come in, comment on the show, come subscribe on YouTube, turn the notifications on, and get involved in the show so we can have some more fun here. But that's it for this episode, guys. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy the heat wave out there if you're taking part in it.
Yeah,
But be
take that
safe.
hoodie off though, bro. Jesus Christ.
Hey, it's cool in my house.
Yeah, man.
That's why I'm staying in the crib. But peace, everybody.